Well, welcome everybody back to the Flying Doghouse. It's another Simworthy Shakedown. We're dusting off the digital dust bunnies out of the hangar. We'll take a look at some fun things over the next few weeks. Venturing into the unflown or not flown enough. So today, I thought it might be fun to amble down to Kitty Hawk and jump in the Curtiss Jenny. This was a 40th anniversary aircraft that was released by Microsoft. And it's just quirky fun. Let's go have a look at it. Alright, here we are on the ground here in Kitty Hawk. It's just a lovely old bird. All the wood and the wires. Open cockpit. If you've never flown in an open cockpit biplane, I highly recommend it. It is definitely one of those lifetime experiences. Any rate, several cool things about this. Notice that the cowl is off of the engine, so you can do your walk around. Well, let's jump into the cockpit. Here we go. If you're curious about where that is, if you haven't flown this, you may not have found this, or dared not to read the user guide. There is there are two brackets in the cockpit that do things. So the first one I've moused over, it's the cowlings on off, and there's also an electronic flight bag if you hadn't found that. The interior of this is just a lot of fun. So anyway, let's jump down here deep into the cockpit. Cut the lights on so the panel lights work. Obviously that's going to start using battery, so anyway, we'll leave it on. We'll be off the ground here before we know it. So pilot's left, this is the magneto lever, and then we have breakers for the magnetos. Those have to be set. Choke or mixture is here underneath the light switch. Love these old Western Electric batteries. Those are charming. The fuel shutoff valve, easy for me to say, is located here. Red button. And here's our throttle. The worn wood on the floor of the aircraft is neat. All right. Anyway, let's turn our attention here to getting this thing started up. So let's take a look at the fuel. So fuel shutoff valve needs to go to open. Fuel cutoff ring needs to go to open. Mixture needs to be full out, and it's set to 100%, and it is. We need to crack the throttle, and we also need to engage the magnetos and then cut on the magneto breakers. Right. Take a peek here. Okay, we've got fuel ready. Just to re-verify here. Those look good. Magnetos are on. Throttle is cracked. And then to start, click on the prop. And we've got an engine. Alright, let's jump outside the aircraft here. Isn't it just charming? Alright, well, not worried about our ground crew. We'll just run right through this guy. Taxi out. Sound of this is just charming. So there are no brakes. So you will need to be mindful of that for landing and then roll out. So slow and steady is the rule of the day here on taxi. Alright, and we'll head on over onto the active runway. If speed is your thing, this is not going to be your aircraft. And just for visual appeal here, we'll take off outside the aircraft here so you can watch the Jenny in action. So let's go ahead and roll. It is a tail dragger with no wheel on the tail. And she will come up off the ground relatively easily. Do want to get some airspeed. Too aggressive on your climb out, you will stall and hit the ground harder than you want to. Alright, we'll just maintain runway heading here for a couple of minutes. And we'll swing around the memorial and then we'll land. And as I mentioned, this was released as a part of the 40th anniversary of Microsoft Flight Simulator. There are lots of little hidden gems available for free that are sitting in your hangar, gathering dust. If you are looking for something that's change of pace and goes slow, I wholeheartedly recommend this one. That's a lot of fun. And there's the Wright Brothers Memorial down below us. This is rendered rather nicely in the sim. And the airport designator, I think, is Kilo Foxtrot Alpha Alpha. And we'll start coming off the throttle here. For cruise, what you're looking for is about 1100 RPM. Cruise altitude is somewhere between 500 and 1,000 feet, and we're at 1,036. I've got some altitude I need to burn off before we make our approach. Again, you do need to manage your speed. Keep in mind you have no brakes. And you also want to cut the engine to idle once you hit the threshold. And we dropped off a couple of 100 feet. Let's see if that's going to be enough. Sim is being awful stuttery today. And obviously this aircraft is not going to treat you nicely with crosswind. Or in really windy conditions as well. So keep that in mind as you choose to have a fly with it. Also does not have flaps. And coming in here on runway 3. Gently make our way down here. Not too bad. We'll start applying some back pressure on the stick. And we'll continue to roll out here. I could take it onto the grass to slow down even further, but I think we've got plenty of runway to deal with here. And go all the way down to the end of the runway so we can take a look at the memorial, this turnout. Anyway, there you go. Certainly something out of the norm. And it's quirky, and it's included in the sim, and it's a lot of fun. There is documentation for this over on flightsimulator.azureedge.net. So if you just do a search for Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft documentation, you'll find that in your Google search. And those will be true of the famous flyers and others that were released by Microsoft in the store. There we go. Here's the Wright Brothers Memorial Museum. And the stone markers that we see in front of us are the distances of the first flights. That's just a lot of fun. There we go. All right, I'm going to leave it here. Thanks for tuning in to another Sim Shakedown. It was a Curtis Jenny. Keep well, everyone. Take care, y'all.